Okay guys, so I'm gonna go through some of the steps, well pretty much all of the steps backwards on how to get an injector installed on a 335D. This also applies very closely to an X5 diesel. So yeah, here we go. So I've already got the injector out. I had to take it out the unconventional way. I had to use the slide hammer. Worked like a charm. Got to get that back to Andrew. And now I'm going to put the new injector in. So the new injector looks a little better, and that injector is only a year old. Not sure exactly what happened. I suspect rodents got in there and started screwing some shit up. So take all the caps off the new guy. There's 3 of them. Got to make sure that copper ring's on there. It's very important. I don't know why, honestly. That's just what my BMW mechanic told me. And there is a little metal harness that the injector sits in. And the dogs just wait for their BMW to get ready. Sorry, need that kind of break. Okay, so back to business here. There's this little harness, and the injector sits in it. Well, you can always refer to the ones that are there. So it looks like it's gonna go like this. So it's fitting in there like this. It's going like this. Okay, so it fits in like that. And then we are going to slide it back in its home ever so carefully. And now normally what you would do if your setup wasn't screwed up is these Torx heads, after you remove this nut, you would take this Torx head and you would turn that, and that would pop the injector out. But this one was really corroded from whatever the gunk was that was in there. So like I said, I had to use a slide hammer, but that's what you would normally do. Remove this nut and then use a reverse Torx on that. So this is not going in all the way. It's not seating properly, so I need to probably use a screwdriver handle and a hammer and hit it ever so gently. So there's nowhere to set you, so you're going to get set right here. Of course my little hammer's gone. Why wouldn't it be? Now I'm going to try to just tap this on the collar because I don't want to tap the actual injector itself. It's going on perfectly. And it's on. It's completely set. So now I get to go to the pile of fun, my super organized screw collection. And these 2 are the ones that go on that post that's looking a little bit gnarly. So, gotta be really careful not to drop this here, because who likes trying to find nuts or bolts in an engine bay? Carefully put that on those posts. I like to get them started by hand just to make sure they're not stripped. This one is kind of not going. I don't remember what size that was. I think it was an 8. Going back to the tools here. That's my 10. 11. This looks like an 8. Alright. So we're going to tighten those guys down. Now, I'm sure there is a Newton meter spec on these things, and I do have 1/4 inch Torx wrench, so I am going to try to get them to spec. If I remember correctly, the spec was Gutentight. That's a German one. I'm not funny. I know there is a spec for it. I was just basically going to where the rest of the specs were. Whoa, sorry about that, guys. Where the rest of the threads were, so I saw about 3 or 4 threads over the screw, so that's kind of where I put it on the gnarly looking post. So I'm connecting this guy. Click, that's good. And now I'm going to reconnect the fuel rail, which is right over here, somewhere here. This was a 17 wrench, I believe. And it goes like, it can only go one way, so that's a good thing. I believe it's this way. Yeah, that's right. So I'm gonna put you down for a second. This tripod on this GoPro is not the best for this application, realistically speaking. So I'm just reconnecting the high pressure fuel line, starting them by hand. Get my 17 wrench from the area of fun. Oh, there's my other hammer. Fuel rail's back on. And last but not least, on that, I'm going to put this cap back on. Clips down like the rest of them. Seems a little too simple, doesn't it? Well, they're not simple to get off. Okay, next I'm going to put the cover on. Actually, yeah, nope, that is not what I'm gonna do next. There's a little piece. This guy, very important to remove, especially if you are trying to get to cylinder 6. So it goes back up in there. And of course, these two are different size than this guy. So I think it's 2 10s and an 11. So I'm just gonna put that back on real quick. Try not to lose anything in the process. All the holes line up. Which is a good thing. And I try to keep some screws with certain pieces, just to kind of make it easier when you put it all back together. Because it's not too hard to figure out what screws go where, but just take some of the guesswork out of it. Like I had these 3 sitting in the plastic piece. So that guy's kind of rough, but we're gonna drive it in. So the center guy I think was an 11. Don't need the torque wrench anymore. Sure that did. Two outside guys are 10s. I was using a drill to take a lot of this apart with those little bits that adapt to the sockets, and I'll definitely be using that again when I'm working on the valve cover, or not the valve cover, the intake cover. Not sure why that one's still driving, but this car has been taken apart many times. It's a real love-hate relationship. I love it when it's driving right, but man, I hate it when it needs shit. Because it's just a bunch of taking shit apart, putting it back together. That's what it's like owning a BMW. But to BMW's defense, this one's modified heavily. All the exhaust components, or the emissions components, removed. So next step, I'll take you with me so you're not left in the dust, is I'm gonna put the valve, the body cover back on. These kind of just stay in there. And yeah, that piece goes on next. So I'm gonna get that into place. See if I could hang this from somewhere. Might work. Hopefully you can see that. All right. Just want to make sure I'm not forgetting anything before I put that on there. I don't think that I am. The injector is all on, ready to go, Everything's tightened. Caps are on. Here we go. Hung up somewhere. Oh, I see. This guy's got to come forward. That was one of the areas. Where's the other area? Almost there. Come on. It's very close. Something is a little off. There was kind of a lot of things to taking this off, but we're gonna go through them all, putting them back on, aren't we? There we go, it's starting to sit. Okay, I gotta be careful here because the hood is kind of I had to remove the hood struts in order to get the slide hammer over cylinder 6 because it's so far back.